Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me for a special edition of our Best of Success podcast show. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor, and so honored to be here with Trent Cotney, partner with Adams and Reese. Trent, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Jill, thanks for having me.
Well, again, the topic of the day is Hurricane Ian, and it sounds like your phone's been ringing off the hook, and there's lots to talk about to make sure contractors are prepared. First, can you just explain to contractors what's happening in the county and how they've kind of released some of the restrictions for for GCs? What is that all about?
Right. So over the weekend, the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, which governs licensing in the state of Florida, has said that if you are a Division I contractor, which is a general contractor, building contractor, residential contractor, that you can do roofing work without having to subcontract it out to a licensed roofing contractor. So there's some issues here. I understand the thought process is we need to, open it up and get more people doing work. But, as obviously as an advocate for the roofing industry, I have a lot of concern about that. GCs, building contractors, residential contractors, they don't know necessarily how to put on a roof. If it's new construction, their license allows them to do certain things, but I would be very wary of having a general contractor self-perform a low slope roof system or even a steep slope roof system. You really want a specialist, and in the state of Florida, there are so many strict requirements. I think this is kind of a mistake and a sort of a knee-jerk political reaction. I really wish that they would leave it to the licensed roofing professionals, because those are the ones that are properly trained, that are doing it day in and day out. Jill, it'd be like if someone came to me and said, Trent, you can now do criminal law. Well, I mean, yeah, I know a little bit about it, but that's clearly not what I do. Right.
Right.
So you want somebody, especially right now, my concern is that you're going to have a bunch of, general contractors, residential contractors pretending that they know how to do roofing. And you're going to end up with a lot of claims after the fact. And the problem that we're facing in Florida, it's coming where we're not going to be insurable pretty much. It's going to be the premiums and rates are going to be so high because of all the damage that's here. My concern is that if more defect claims come out of allowing, these non-roofing contractors to do work, that's just going to cause rates to even skyrocket even more. So yeah, I don't agree with it. That's me personally. There may be others that but from a standpoint of a roofing advocate, that's kind of the problem with it.
So I guess if you're a roofing contractor, I mean, clearly you can see that there's so much work, it's overwhelming.
Right.
And how do you market that to the homeowner from the contractor's perspective to make sure that they've got somebody that homeowners are sure that they've got a roofing contractor on their job and not somebody who doesn't normally do that work?
Yeah. So, part of it is it's interesting out there. And, I'm constantly, you and I were talking before the start, I'm constantly talking to roofers that are down there. Right. I mean, I've had 40 plus phone calls this morning, and on the scene, it is different. Homeowners that still have homes are panicked. They just want something to keep it watertight. But, I got to tell you, FRSA, Lisa Pate, everybody there, they've already done a great job getting the word out. And I think a lot of it is just about education. I know personally, I don't want anybody but a licensed roofing contractor touching my house. I understand the need to expedite things, but I would rather have it done right than have to redo it down the road.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For sure. So basically contractors, when they're out there, they should make sure that they're promoting that specifically to the homeowner or the building owner, not just homeowners. I mean,
yeah, that they're now, everyone needs to understand this, because if you're not from Florida, you don't understand what our licensing requirements are. The licensing test for a roofing contractor is pretty robust. I mean, there's a business portion, but there's also a technical portion where they go into detail about different aspects of roofing. It is not, a gimme. So you really have to understand, and in order to get a license, you have to have X number of years of business experience, depending on whether you've got a 4-year degree or not. All of that is incredibly important. So the licensed roofing contractors in the state of Florida, they are a cut above,
Yeah.
other contractors in the state that don't have that license.
Got it. So it sounds like there's some other issues going on. What else do contractors need to understand in regards to being prepared and some of the logistics you were talking about?
Yeah, so a couple things I'll mention, Joe, real quick. One is, there's this mistake that all the permitting requirements are suddenly stopped. That's not the case, right? I mean, obviously, it's more difficult to get a hold of people within, building officials' offices, things like that. But we personally talked to both Charlotte County and Sarasota County reps. We're still trying to get a hold of Lee County. Obviously, they were hit the hardest. Both of them have said permitting has not stopped. There's no moratorium. You can apply online, but you still need to follow all that. My recommendation to contractors going down there, make sure you take plenty of in-progress photos so that if you can't get timely inspections, that you've got some backup there. The other thing, Jill, is come prepared. There is no water, there is no food, there is no power. You must bring a generator. And if you plan on staying down here, if you're not, within driving distance, make sure you figure out somewhere for your crews to stay, because it is just utter destruction down there. It is a lot of contractors, even from the Tampa Bay area, that are going down there are not prepared with the amount of damage and destruction that they're seeing. So it's been real eye-opening.
And so what about like a wall and ceiling contractor who's coming down to show up as well? Because it's not just roofing work that needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. So wall and ceiling, especially drywall, anything like that, you need to bring your own materials. You need to bring your own fasteners. Don't anticipate that you'll be able to source anywhere. So make sure that you have a sufficient amount of supplies and materials with you, because that may be all that you will be able to get. Now, obviously, I've talked to distribution. They're doing their best to get stuff in there, but the demand is so overwhelming that, our walls and ceilings contractors, they need to understand, bring your materials, bring your equipment, bring your tools, bring everything that you could possibly need, because you're not going to be able to find it on the scene.
Sounds great. Well, Trent, thank you again, as always, for all your insight. And if anybody has any questions, Trent, clearly people know how to get a hold of you because your phone's ringing off the hook. But how do they email? How do they email you?
Sure, they can get me at trent.cotney@arlaw.com.
Sounds great. And if anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com, wconline.com, or buildingenclosureonline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for our free e-newsletter so you can always stay up to date on our great videos with Trent. Thanks so much, Trent.
Thank you.